G'day guys, thanks for visiting Richard's Corner. My name is Richard and today I'm doing, well, a special kind of vlog. I'm doing a collaboration video actually. Now my friend Carisa from the channel All Things Frugal and Fabulous, her and I have been communicating back and forth via Messenger to do some sort of collaboration together. Now the first idea that we were going to do is some sort of toy review because she's got a box of stuff that they don't use anymore, and she wanted me to do some toy reviews on it, and I was glad to do it, but our opportunity to sort of hook up in person it just didn't happen. So we thought that maybe our first collaboration would be something done remotely, meaning we're going to do two videos that sort of relate to each other, and we're going to link to one another. And the whole idea is that we're going to do a theme, a common theme. And so both of our videos, her video is linked in the description below. Her video and my video is about how to be successful as a thrift store shopper. Okay, now I just want to give you a shout out to Carisa first. All Things Frugal and Fabulous is a channel dedicated to sharing tips and tricks to saving money, living simply, and trying to live a frugal and fabulous life. That's from her About page. And she is just really, really awesome at what she does. She shares such really, really useful tips, some things that I've never even heard of before, and they're just really simple, common sense kind of things that just make sense when you're just trying to live on a budget, or if you need to live on a budget, or need to live a little bit more simply, and to sort of take a step back from the the rush that the society has on, like, oh, we got to get this and this and this. And yeah, I mean, she really does have this awesome grounded channel that sort of shares really real life kind of stuff that you can use, So although she doesn't necessarily concentrate on thrifting toys like I do, we're like-minded in that sense that, we have to live simply because that's just the way it is, So I would highly recommend her channel. Please check out her link to her channel below. Let her know that Richard from Richard's Corner sent you, and please give her a subscribe, give her a sub, and let her give her your support, because she is such an awesome person. So and we've only been communicating by Messenger. We haven't even met in person yet, but that just seems to be the nature of YouTube, right? So anyway, I'm just babbling. I love talking about how YouTube is a community, but there is a purpose to this video. In fact, I've got pages of notes that I want to share with you guys about how to be successful at thrift shopping. Now I know that me personally, I've been doing thrifty collecting, but I mean the principles to succeeding at a thrift shop are still the same. So I'm hoping that these tips will be useful. Maybe they might be reiterating some stuff Carisa has already said, but nonetheless, there are tips to sort of keep in mind when you are hitting your favorite thrifty shops. So I hope that this is helpful for you. Pardon me for the paper. So one of the first tips I want to really, really stress is location. Now, there are different parts of the city, at least here in Winnipeg, that I've found are better for finding certain things than others. In fact, when I go to sort of higher end areas, like middle class, places, the thrift stores, like the donations at thrift stores, are often better than some of the lower income areas. Not to say that the lower income areas don't get some really cool thrifty items too, but you can sort of gauge what you might find depending on what area of the city. In the south end of the city, we have a value village on Pembina Highway near University of Manitoba. A lot of college or university students donate their end of the year stuff there. There's a lot of younger crowds in that area, so there's a lot of collectibles that get redonated too. So if I want to look for really cool collectible kind of figures, I'll go to the south end. But I find that in the north end, on Jefferson, the Value Village there has a lot of really great clothes and stuff that's really cheap. It's often name brand, and that just seems to be the trend. So I mean, if you know the locations of places where things might be higher end or not, it may determine the kinds of things being donated at the thrift stores in that area. Another thing to consider also is well, location also affects pricing. Sometimes these stores are independently run, so not all the pricing is going to be the same across the board. So to keep that in mind too, although some locations might be better for items, some items might be better priced at other locations. So you have to sort of know your stores, and if you go often enough, you start realizing these patterns. Yeah, and some stores fit better needs than, some stores fit needs better than others. So some stores may be really good at stocking furniture, but other stores may be really good for stocking toys. And then other stores may be really great for clothing and shoes. So depending on how often you go, you may start realizing that some shops in some locations are better than others. Sometimes the bigger thrift stores have more selection. Sometimes the smaller ones have the better treasures. You just have to sort of get out there and see. But location really does play a part. And as you do more and more thrifting, you start realizing which locations work better for you as a thrifty shopper. One of the things I really want to try when spring and summer hit and the roads are dry and it's safe for us to go on the highway a lot, I want to do rural shopping. Did you know that living in a city, I did not know this until some of my other thrifty friends told me about this, but rural thrift shops have lower pricing at their stores than we do here in the city. So packages that are $2.99 at a thrift store in the city may only be 99 cents at the rural thrift stores. Now I realize it's only $1.50 pricing, but like you can walk away with much more for your money if you're willing to spend the gas to get out there. And you know what? Thrifting should be an adventure anyway. So I'm hoping that some rural thrifting will be really fun for me, and I'm going to definitely do a shop with me when that happens. So location, that is definitely one thing to consider. Time of the day, time of year, time of day, time of week, time of year. The time that you go visiting will determine your success as well. Quite often, a real common sense thing, the early bird gets the worm. If you go there early, you're going to have more selection than if you go there late. But if you can't help going late, the day of the week may also make a difference. People go on the weekends because nobody's working, right? Well, a lot of people aren't working. If you have a Monday to Friday job, they're going to do their shopping on Saturday and Sunday. But if you have time to go during the middle of the week when it's not so busy, you can maximize your chances of finding something thrifty that you are personally looking for, whether it's a toy or a clothing or whatever. I mean, if you're out for the hunt, you will succeed better with more selection. So when will there be more selection? Usually when it's not a peak hour. So weekends are usually peak. But if you can go during the week, that would be great. The time of year also determines what kind of stock is out there. So during Christmas season, obviously, if you're looking for decor, that's a great time to go. If you're looking for a Halloween costume, that's a really good time to go during the weeks before Halloween. So it kind of makes sense. Spring is a really good time to go thrifting because spring cleaning, right? Everyone's got the bug in their ear that they've got to do some spring cleaning, do lots of purging. They often donate their stuff. If they don't have a garage sale, anything that doesn't sell will go to thrift stores like Value Village and Salvation Army, etc. So that's a great time to go thrifting because some things that they just totally got rid of will find their ways into their stores. Another good time of year is the end of school and the beginning of school. End of school, during the summer, people are getting rid of their stuff from the end of school. Sometimes if people are moving out of their dorms to move on to bigger and better things, sometimes they'll donate all their furniture, all their belongings, and start a whole new chapter of their adult life after they graduate. So by August or September, there'll be a lot of things processed and out there after the end of school season is out. So it's a really good idea to sort of keep that in mind. One tip I want to sort of add to time is also to make friends with the staff. What does that have to do with time? Because the staff has inside information, right? So they have inside information as to when new stock usually comes out, or maybe the time of day that new stock comes out. Now, sometimes it's very random. Like big stores like Value Village are getting things all the time, and they're processing it all the time. But sometimes big, smaller stores will have certain times of day or certain times of the week where they will restock their shelves. So get to know the staff, make friends with them, be a regular customer and just have a little chit chat. And I'm sure they'll drop a little line and hook you up with a good time of the week. Hey, come on Tuesday because we have a whole new shipment of stuff coming in, or whatever, right? So if you make friends with staff, or at least you become a friendly regular customer, I'm sure there will be a friendly staff to help you know the best time to maximize your thrifty purchasing. Number 3, frequency. The law of averages works in your favor if you go often. That's just practical. You know, that's true for any kind of shopping, right? But if you do go to thrift shops often, you will find you have better chances of finding things. All the things that I've found just from going to a store on a whim. Usually I go on Friday mornings, you know, after the kids are in school and everyone's at work. I have Fridays off, so I go and I do my thrifting on those days if I haven't already, you know, accumulated a bunch of stuff for my hauls. But yeah, if you go often, it's easy to recognize the patterns in the stores. You'll know when, you'll sort of approximate when new sales might be coming up. Some things are seasonal, so seasonal sales come up, you know, and you start seeing these patterns the more often you go. And it's always good, you know, just because it's never the same store twice anyway. So it never really hurts to go once, maybe twice a week, you know, and really take advantage of what is out there. So the more often you go, the more often you will find what you are maybe hoping for. Email lists. Embrace the technology, guys. A lot of these thrift stores often have email lists to give you an alert. Hey, there's a discount happening on Saturday, Sunday for clothing or something. They'll give you a heads up a few days in advance so that you can hit to the store first thing and take advantage of said sales. So I know we're already inundated with emails, so I'm sure that this isn't something you totally want to embrace, but if you are a thrifter like me, I'm on the Salvation Army thrift email list, pardon me, I'm on the Value Village one. Yeah, I mean, I always have an inside track when to go, and often if you are on the email list, you have the inside track as a member kind of thing, and they'll give you that discount a day ahead of the regular public. So it's really, really cool to try an email list and be part of it, because you will get that inside track to get really good deals at your thrift shops. One of the things that maybe you don't realize that maybe people don't immediately know is that when you donate back to these thrift stores, sometimes they give you discounts for donating. Value Village has the hero program, the little hero card. You are a hero for donating, and for every big bag of stuff that you give, you get a stamp on the card, and if you fill up the 6 stamps, you get 30% off your purchase. So that's amazing. And 30% off already thrifty prices, yeah, that's why I have so much stuff. You know, but I've donated a bunch of stuff between my common law and myself and the kids, you know, getting rid of toys. I mean, we just managed to fill up our stamp cards, and but I'll use the discounts more often because my common law doesn't go as often as I do. But when I do use it, I mean, I'll make a big $40, $50 purchase that I only pay $30 for because I saved 30%. So I walk away way ahead, even more ahead than just the face value pricing. So consider donating. You want to make room for new stuff anyway, or maybe you want to declutter and you want to, you know, make some space in your home. You're supporting your thrift store by donating, and they show you appreciation by giving you a discount coupon or a little discount card that you can use within 30 days or 90 days and take advantage of it. So donating may actually give you a leg up for getting a good deal at your thrift store. I'm going to skip one point. I want to save that for the end. Dress for it. This may seem like an unusual thing, but if you're shopping for clothes, sometimes it's actually a good idea to wear some fitted under clothing, like fitted shirts or something, so that you can try on, like for me, like if I wear a fitted shirt to Value Village, I can try on dress shirts and sweaters without having to go to the change room. Because sometimes there's not enough change rooms, and if it's a busy day, I can just try stuff on in the aisle. So I see a lot of people do that. Pants, yeah, maybe not. I don't want anyone, you know, in biker shorts trying on pants. Please don't do that. Use the change room in that case. But dressing for it, I read this one online, and it's like, oh, that's a really good tip. I wanted to share that. That you know, if you dress for it, you can, if you are purposefully looking for clothing at your thrifty places, yeah, you don't necessarily need a change room if in a bigger store, because you can, you know, just sort of take off your top layers and you can put something on top to try it on. So within reason, if you dress with something fitted underneath, you can usually try something on and see the fit without having to use a dressing room. Also, when speaking of clothing, there's something that I listened to on the Value Village site. Sizes aren't always consistent. I don't know if you guys know that, but a size medium in one cut of clothing may be looser than a size medium of another cut of clothing. And so don't be afraid to look through all the racks. Don't just look at your size, whether it's small or medium or large or extra large. Look at everything within reason. I mean, extra large, if you're a large or extra large to start with, obviously maybe some medium cuts or small cuts are not going to be cut oversized. But the reverse is true though. Like some larges are cut slim. They fit a medium body. Some small cuts are actually fit a medium body as well, right? So it goes either way, but don't be afraid to look at all of the sizing to maximize your chances of finding a really good deal. You might be surprised how many other shirts you'll see at other sizes that actually still fit your frame. I've found tons of dress shirts that were large, but they fit like a medium. I've found tons of medium shirts that fit really, really tiny, and I cannot fit them. So it's just, you know, it's just the cut of clothing, the brand, it varies greatly. And especially at a thrift store, old clothes, new clothes, I mean, they're all mixed in. Medium back then is not medium now, definitely. So yeah, try everything on. And again, if you dress for it, you'll be able to do it without a dressing room. Upcycle and recycle. This is one of those think out of the box kind of ideas. I don't often look for household stuff unless it's more display kind of things for my collectibles. But I have picked up a few things, especially in my my thrift bus tour that I took last year. I think I'll card that up here or up here. I found a few shelving kind of things that were sort of meant for knickknacks, but they are clearly could be used for little figures too. But I don't think they had figures in mind, like collectible figures in mind when they made it, right? Spice racks and small shelves that were made for books and stuff like that. I mean, they're often obviously could be used for displays, right? For me, like I'm a collector, I'm biased that way. But I mean, if you can think outside of the box, you can obviously repurpose things that were meant for one thing to be used for another. So that'll also maximize your chances when you're thrifting, because one, you never really know what you're going to find, but when you do find it, you may realize, oh man, I can use this for this instead, right? So even if it's not meant for that, it can still be effective, right? So if you sort of like be creative in your head and sort of think of how you can reuse this without it being constrained to what it is, you may actually walk away with extra stuff that, oh my gosh, this is great, I can use this for this, I can use that for that, versus it just being, okay, this is what it is and that's all I can use it for, right? So upcycling and recycling, keeping that in your head also maximizes your chances for success. Okay, next tip, inspect before you buy. There's a lot of really good things to do, like a lot of great things that you'll find when you really take a good look at what you're going to buy. One, you may find the tag still on it, which means it's brand new. Okay, look for tag. Like you might not always find tags; it's rare. But there are some times, like I found a few athletic shirts that are easily $40 or $50 in stores. It was a certain color, like it was a purple with neon green. I don't know if I've worn it on a video yet, but anyway, it was brand new. It was brand new, and Value Village was selling it for $5.99. But yeah, it was like a $30 or $40 shirt. I didn't check online for it, but that brand of shirt, they're not cheap athletic shirts, you know? I guess the person that got it was gifted this shirt and just didn't want it, or maybe he or she bought it and it just didn't fit that person. So, but it fits me great, and I look good in it, and I really love the color, and it's like, oh great, you know. So sometimes the tags may still actually be on it, so really take a good look at it. That aside, because brand new 100% new clothing or items aren't always found at Value Village or thrift stores, as best as possible, try to take a good look at the item before actually committing, because the return policy is often maybe a credit in the store, if at all, because sometimes it's a final sale and you just can't return it. So like for me, I mean, I revealed just yesterday or 2 days ago a video where I had these awesome Marvel Universe figures that were missing limbs, and I didn't realize they were all missing limbs until I actually opened the package. So I mean, when they're stuck in package, you can't always see, you know, like what it is, like the real condition of it. So sometimes you're taking a chance when it comes to toys and little grab bags and such. But when you're looking at clothing and stuff like that, make sure you take a great look. Are there any holes? Are there any major tears or rips that you can't repair? I'm not a seamstress, or I don't know how to sew very well other than holes in my socks. And even then I just buy new socks, right? So I don't want to spend a few bucks for a shirt that I'm not going to absolutely wear. So I want to make sure that it's in good condition when I buy it. So make sure there isn't a really bad stain on it. Make sure that it's in fairly good condition, not fraying. Just take a really good look at it if possible. And again, also inspect electronics. Value Village often has a try-station, like an outlet with a little platform, so that you can try electronic items and make sure they actually work. Don't say, "Oh, this is a great Oster blender," and then not actually try it. And when you take it home, the motor's actually dead. Sometimes they don't have a chance to test them before they put them out. So you, as a consumer, you have a responsibility to yourself. Don't assume anything. Make sure you try it before you buy it if you can. And if you can't, see what they can do about returns or exchanges, or at least store credit, because sometimes it's a final say. You just can't do anything about it. So do your best to inspect your items, okay? One other thing to inspect is brands and familiarity with different makes and models of things. The reason why that's important is because sometimes that can dictate whether or not it's even worth inspecting, let alone buy. Whenever I'm looking for toys, I'll immediately recognize something that is made by Funko, or it's made by Marvel, or if it's made by Disney, or if it's made by certain companies, right? I'm just getting to that point because I'm going so often, right? So the more reviews I do, the more I learn about these toys, and the more I realize, oh my gosh, if I see something right away, yeah, I gotta grab that because that looks like a really expensive figure that they're selling for just $7 and it's actually worth $100 or something like that, right? I mean, so the same thing with clothing. If you are going across the racks, sort of give the clothing a little bit of a feel and just sort of see the material. Sometimes good material sticks out, like really stands out when you're touching it, and it's like, oh, take a look at that. Silk shirts, they don't stand out until you actually touch them, and it's like, oh, that's nice. And touching and feeling clothing, the brands of electronics and stuff like that that don't break down, good quality brands, you will know that they will probably work. Still test them if you can, but better brands will stand up. Even if they have been donated, they've just maybe outlived their usefulness for a family, have taken well care of it, but they just donated it because they don't need it anymore, right? So be familiar with the brands that you love. Be familiar with the brands that you love the most, whether it's to wear or to collect or to use in your household. Branding can really make a big difference. And bigger brands are more expensive, and you get what you pay for, so you will, benefit from a good quality brand at a thrifty price. Haggling. This is a sore point for me because I'm not very good at haggling, really. Honestly, there's actually not a lot of room for haggling at stores like Value Village or even Salvation Army, or, the pricing is pretty much set, so you can't really bargain at stores like that. However, you can bargain at garage sales. You can bargain at flea markets, because usually they're a little bit more loose about their pricing because they want to move their product. So especially at garage sales, I mean, like, it's already a few dollars, I want to buy it for $1. It's like, you don't want to undermine their pricing completely, right? But you know what, if they really, really want to move it and it hasn't moved, they will probably give it to you if you ask, right? But haggle within reason. Don't give them next to nothing when they're asking for something, right? Especially at flea markets, they're trying to run a business too. But haggling is possible, and I know I've been successful at haggling, but I've also come across not so aggressive, and I'm just try to be friendly and just sort of see. At the worst, they're not going to haggle, and it's like, oh, that's fine. I'll just walk away and not get it because I don't want to spend a certain amount for it, right? But quite often, some people will say, oh, I say it's $5 for $10, but I'll give it to you 5 for 5 or something like that. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's good to know. So I mean, there are usually deals hidden under the deals in certain places, but bigger stores like Value Village and even chain stores like the Salvation Army thrift store, even Goodwill, the salespeople aren't working there to haggle with you to move product. They're trying to run a business, and they have upkeep and people to pay, and yeah, like you just can't there. So haggle within reason, but haggle where appropriate. All right, I've got 2 more tips for you guys. Now, one of them is buying what you love. Love with a heart, love. Oh, you know what? I'm so guilty of going to thrift stores and being so taken back by all the retro stuff that speaks to my childhood, that speaks to my channel is all about all the stuff that really speaks to me, right? But it usually triggers something good in my head, like, or in my heart, that says, oh my gosh, it was so good when I used to watch these cartoons, and it was so fun to watch this, and it was so fun to read this, and you know, like, I have a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily need to have, but it's really cool to get and find. But if you don't really love it, you're spending your money and just putting it away, it's kind of not a good deal in the end, because you've spent the money that you could have spent on something else that you really love and that you really appreciate and really engage in all the time. You know what I mean? So I mean, I have a ton of these things, like toys, all over the place in my apartment, all in boxes too, because I have no space to display everything. And even if I did, I mean, I don't even know where I'd start. There's just so much of it. And it's not that I don't love what I bought, but I know a lot of it was bought when, it's just more because it spoke to me, and because, not just because of this channel, but more because, it's just fun to get and it's fun to find. But if you are completely enamored by it, you will spend more money than you mean to, right? So really, really, really look at it, and buy what you really love. You may find a lot of shirts for $3. You don't need 10 of them for $30. You probably just need 1 or 2 that you really, really love and you will wear, versus buying 10 of them for $30 because it's such a good deal. You have to sort of separate yourself from, the deal versus, okay, I'm buying because I really want this. So even for me, it is not easy to do that. I'm going to just confess, it's just not easy for me to do that. It's a tip I need to practice more. And the accumulation of things that I have is a testament to that. So, buying it for the sake of it is just not a good idea. Buying it because you love it is a great idea, especially if you're going to get it for much less than retail. That's what thrifting is all about, right? So some good, supplementary tips along that line. You want to set a budget for yourself. When you go thrifting, make sure you just set, okay, this is how much I'm going to spend, and that's it. That big thrift bus tour, I expected to spend maybe $100. I was way under budget, and I only spent about 66 over 4 different stores. So not bad, but I walked away with a huge haul, and it took me 4 videos to go through all of it. So it was great. But, whenever I go to Value Village and stuff like that, I will, set, okay, $20 is all I'm going to spend, and that's what I spend. And I'll often put stuff back on the shelf because nope, I'm going to go over budget. But I still walk away with a ton of great stuff, right? So you got to separate yourself from the deal and make sure you buy exactly what you want or need or whatever from that trip. Also, yeah, just to reiterate the whole point about nostalgia, be strong in the face of nostalgia. It was so put on this awesome website, and it's like, yeah, you have to, because it relives your childhood does not necessarily mean you have to buy it. I mean, it's one thing to be a YouTuber and do that, but it is another thing to just sort of just doing it for the sake of it, and it just doesn't really do anything else other than, okay, you bought it, great, I got it, put it away, and that's it. Yeah. If it should be something that engages you, or it's something that you so appreciate every day, that you look at it, it's like, oh, I'm so happy I have that, it should do that, versus, oh, I forgot I had that, right? Like it can get like that, right? So don't hoard, buy what you love, and and really just stick to your guns. You can be strong in the face of nostalgia. I need to be too. Along that line, though, buying what you love, buy it if you can, because you have to beware of the vultures. This is going to seem contradictory to what I just said about buying for the sake of it. If you love it and you don't buy it, someone else will. Okay? So if you can afford it, if it's within your means, and you really, really love it, and you will really appreciate it and really use it, then get it. Don't wait. Don't oh, I'll come back and see if it's there. No, it never works that way. No, at a thrift store, at a flea market, anything, It's never the same place twice. I mean that. I stress that, and it's true. If you go back to Value Village a week later, all those things that you saw the week before are probably not there, and they're replaced by maybe something equally cool, but the one piece that you really loved is probably gone. So, if you can, if you love it, and it's within your means, buy it immediately. Walk out with it, like, buy it. Don't expect it to be there, because a vulture that has the same taste as you is probably going to find it and will walk away with it. So just, it seems contradictory because, again, I don't want you to overbuy, but at the same time, if it's something you really love, then get it. If you can afford it and you can get it, Yeah. Okay, my last tip. There's one thing I really want to share about thrifting, and it's about expectations. One, there's a big stigma around going to thrift stores. Oh, they're dirty and they're dusty and they smell funny. Yeah, they are. Some of them are. A lot of them are actually really clean. And it's funny, you go to Value Village here in Winnipeg and there's this certain musty smell to it, and it never goes away. Never. And it's not that the clothes aren't clean, it's just that smell. It's a thrift store smell. I don't know. And I've smelled it at other stores too, and it's just something I'm used to. I don't even think about it anymore. I just know, oh yeah, I'm here. I'm at a thrift store. But there's a stigma to it, like, that if you go to a used place and you're buying someone else's clothes and stuff that they've discarded, why would you want to buy it? Well, some of the stuff they discard is pretty darn good, and I'm not going to spend retail pricing for some of these things. I can walk out of a thrift store for $40. Say I set a budget for $40 to go buy clothes and toys, and I will walk out with more stuff for $40 than I will ever walk out of even Walmart or any clothing store. Like $40 will maybe buy me a shirt or a pair of pants at even a cheap store. And if I go to a thrift store, I can walk out with like 4 pairs of pants or 3 shirts and a bunch of toys and a bunch of, like, it's a no-brainer for me to go thrifting, And some of the clothing I found are way like overpriced. Like I have Nike, golf shirts. They run $60-$70. I wear a bunch of Old Navy stuff like I'm wearing right now. Those golf shirts run $30 or $40. Like 20, at least $20, if not more. And I spend maybe $4 to $6.99, sometimes $8 or $10.99 because they're higher end brands. It's still going to be like, maybe only 10% or 20% of the actual price of a retail, right? So get that stigma out of your head that a thrift store, if you have any stigma like that, like, get it out of your head, because it's really worthwhile to go. And also, you're supporting, like, these thrift stores are often supporting a cause. Like Value Village supports Big Brothers Association. The Up Shop here in Winnipeg supports the Women's Center. Scope Incorporated supports mental health issues. Same thing with this Spence Street thrift shop. And Scrap Came Back. They were all helping different causes within Winnipeg. The Goodwill store is always a charitable kind of store. Salvation Army, obviously it's Salvation Army. They support everybody, right? So I mean, going to these stores is more than you realize, and supporting them really helps them out. But those expectations, like, walk in without any, go there and have some fun and be open-minded that you will not know what you're going to find, but you're bound to find something that's going to speak to you. Also, sometimes you're going to walk away with nothing, just the hunt is going to not yield anything that speaks to you. That's okay too. Quite often, if you go often enough, you're not going to buy something every time. So you have to sort of be open-minded and be willing to find nothing, or be willing to, like, oh gosh, I have this whole pile of stuff I really love. I don't know what to buy, so be ready for that, be open to that. And also take your time, be patient. Go through the stuff, like, sometimes the best things are hidden underneath the piles, depending on the thrift store. Like Value Village and bigger stores, they're often very organized. Well, somewhat. They're more organized than the smaller ones, right? The smaller ones will have things piled on shelves, where Value Village will have a lot of things spread out on pegboards and other shelving and racks and stuff like that. So depending on the place you're at, you'll have to sort of pick through things, right? You'll never know what you find. Like at the flea market, there's this one lady that has these bins and bins and bins of all kinds of toys sorted by theme, but every bin is full of of like small and big, and or here's a whole bunch of Pokemon, boom, and it's like, holy jeez, it's like it's just full of Pokemon, but there are all kinds of things, and there may be only one that you really want, but you have to sort of root through the pile to find it, right? So be patient and take your time, you know, sort of soak it all in, and just sort of don't rush, right? I find that the thrill of the hunt is more enjoyable if I'm just not hurrying through it. And if I am hurrying through it, then maybe it's just not a good day for me to be thrifting, right? So it's supposed to be fun. You know, you're finding a good deal, you're finding things that people have donated, and you're giving it a new life because it speaks to you, whether it's a toy or a household item or clothing or movies or games or whatever. You know, you're giving an item new life, you know. It is just a thing. You don't have to put your heart on things, but you know, if it's going to serve a purpose to you, or if it's going to speak to you and you can appreciate it, then why not, right? Especially when it's at a thrifty price. So yeah, those are my tips. I think I've gone through all my notes. I think that I've spoken enough. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. Again, Carisa's complimentary collaboration video is in the description below. Please check that video out for more tips. Also check out her channel, drop her a sub, and tell her Richard from Richard's Corner sent you. Again, YouTube is a community of collaborators. YouTube is a community of creators, content creators, and as much as YouTube is about you, it's also about us, you know. So I hope that you will go and support Carisa at her channel, and be a subscriber, and sort of appreciate her awesome tips on living simply and on a budget. So this is Richard from Richard's Corner signing off for now. I'm going to wish you happy hunting and happy collecting, and hope that all of your finds in the thrifty wild are equally awesome. Please hit like and subscribe so that you know what is new and happening here on Richard's Corner, and also hit that little bell icon so that you are instantly notified when something has been uploaded. Again, my channel cannot be here without you guys. Your likes, your subs, your comments, your love and support for this channel are so appreciated. You have no idea what it means for me as a small creator, a small content creator, to be out here and be appreciated by you guys, the viewers. So thank you for making Richard's Corner what it is. And I hope you continue to share in my YouTube journey. Again, it is Richard from Richard's Corner signing off for now. Stay tuned for another video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for visiting Richard's Corner, guys.